welcome back to Dazed and Infused. I'm Latham Woodward, your host, and today we have Anna Willey with us today. And this is the take two of this interview. As we were recording the first one, she had a surprise inspection from our illustrious state agencies. And so welcome back to the show, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I was super excited I was prepared and ready to go. And apparently I was prepared for a DCC inspection, which sometimes, as you know, that's how it goes here in legal cannabis world.
That's how it goes. And I have to say that Anna just also came off of a 200-person Christmas party last night, looking no worse for the wear. And so welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much.
So let's go right back into it where we left off. You had a great story, but let's do it again. And that's
Sure.
what's your historical relationship to cannabis? Your story is really interesting. So let's hear it, and the people at home would love to hear it.
All right. Well, I mean, I've started consuming cannabis at 13, 14, with you have a couple older friends, and I think I can just go into a pretty funny story. The first time I actually smoked cannabis, I didn't get high. So that happens to a lot of folks. And then the second time I just got blazed. And the third time I wanted to impress my older cousins. And so I went out and bought what I thought was an amazing looking bag of green bud. And it was oregano.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin brought over all her friends. And I was so excited because I thought I was going to get inducted into the cool kid club. And then it was just it was oregano. So I think that was the start of it, but it didn't really deter me from one, cannabis use, and then just like a lot of folks, getting most of my cannabis knowledge in New York City from friends and high times. I was not just a consumer, but really interested in the culture and growing it. And so in 1994, I started working for the Service, which is like a delivery service in New York City, still pretty prevalent today, kind of underground delivery service. And if you received cannabis between Second and Gold and Murray Hill, I was there to deliver it for you. It was
they've met you.
It was a great experience because you got to see all walks of life of people that use cannabis, right? From you're going to places like the Four Seasons, and then you're going to some Section 8 housing in Harlem. So it kind of reminds you how loved cannabis is across different cultures and different folks, and I guess different levels of success too. So
right. Well, that's a great start. But then you migrated out to Colorado. Is that correct?
I did. Yep. I did 2 years of undergrad and then moved out to finish my master's at University of Colorado in Boulder. Just a big place for pot, honestly. I mean, everybody there smokes pot, and people are a little more laid back. I met John from Fort Collins. He started to teach me how to cultivate. Hydroponics was like my first grow experience in 6-inch cubes, and we had flood and drain tables. Did that for a couple of years and finished out my schooling. I was a software engineer and worked at lots of Fortune 500 companies for kind of as my other life.
Mm-hmm.
For about 10 to 12 years. The experience that I had there helped me grow and build CAM. So I don't want to discount that experience of going to school and working. I would say like a lot of what people say corporate jobs, but I think that those types of things really taught me how to build teams, how to take care of your people, how to build infrastructure. So when I did start my own company, I had some good foundation on how to grow and scale. So 2009, I tried to raise some capital, but that didn't really work. So I took all my savings and got a 5,000 square foot warehouse and started to build it out. And then I also got a small house that was zoned for retail, pulled all my own permits, and started which was then Colorado Alternative Medicine in Denver, Colorado. 2394 South Broadway. I think it's definitely still a dispensary today. ran that and grew to almost 1,200 flowering lights. And it was great. So, and it just took off from there and sold out of Colorado in 2015, right before kind of the market crash, 2015, 2016. And then exited out of there, and moved to Sacramento. Bought a building, built it out, and that's when, in 2018, is when California artisanal medicine started. And we're here today, almost 140 employees, three operating facilities for cultivation and 2 distributions, and a small delivery in Sacramento. And
Wow.
and here we are. That's pretty
Yeah.
much.
Like I said last time, you're fortunate to go to another state that begins with a C, so you don't have to change any of your logos or anything. It's still Cam here in California.
I thought about it. I was like, well, I could go to Chicago. There's only a couple places, right?
Right, right. What's your new facility? You have a 2,000 light facility in Sacramento. Is that right?
That's right. 2,000 flowering lights. It's about 110,000 square feet.
Okay, and let me ask you, just so there's a lot of people who watch and listen to the show who are into the cultivar and what you're doing in terms of strain. Are you strain specific, season to season? Do you like to mix it up? What's your method?
So our method is that we understand that we really do grow for our retail partners, right? So folks like Perfect, we know that as much as from a cultivation perspective, people would like to learn their cultivar and grow it for many years. It usually takes like 4 or 5 rounds to really learn a new cultivar. What we've actually done is we have almost 120 strain library, and we just keep rotating it out. So in each room, we'll have 4, 5, 6 strains. In the 500 light facility, we have never less than 6 or 7 strains in each zone. So a table has an entire strain. We try to group the strains into things that like similar feeds, but we have a pretty complicated, we have the dosatron, and then we have an Anderson skid in the other cultivation in the 2,000 light, where we can actually feed by table. So
Mm,
we speak if something needs less water, by the table, or needs more feeds, or needs more a different irrigation strategy. We can kind of do that for the plant. So we have like kind of a core irrigation strategy. We try to get strains that are going to match up to that and produce well under that. We're trying out 2 rooms with LEDs. I can honestly say we have not mastered it yet,
right.
and we're still, it's not producing anything that we've been able to package, and that's okay. But we're we're a little old school in the fact that we still use HPS lighting. I will say that even though you do save some money on LEDs, the upfront costs are relatively pretty high. You might be getting some LED, discounts from your utility company, but you're going to have to put in so much dehumidification into the room. It kind of averages out, like most
Yeah.
things.
So
So
far, I haven't been impressed with LED and what I've seen out from different growers.
the light penetration is really difficult. We're trying out Fosses, which is still pulls 1,000 watts. So I'm like, where's the it's
Where's the
basically
savings, right?
for rehab, but that's why that's the best one, right? Because it's most mimicking of an HPS. So
Right.
um but
Let me ask you a quick question on this cultivar issue too. I know that you, in your seed bank or your bank of genetic materials, you you have some very old school strains, and I think I've read you've been interviewed before about this and how their light water requirements are quite different than a lot of the new modern engineered strains. And did I read that correctly?
Absolutely. So I have almost 12 different OG Kushes. They don't like water, and they don't like feed. They like, and they don't, they also don't like very much light. So for those rooms, we're careful to kind of like, we'll try to do many of those strains together so we can ramp up. Like, so the first week we'll start it off at 600, and then move it up to 1,000, and we'll do it like slowly so it doesn't kind of shock the plant. So there's a lot of those types of specifics that we like to cater to strain wise, just to be able to grow there's nothing like a good OG. And
Right.
there's I haven't been able to make it pop or hit yet, but or the market hasn't taken to it. But a good super silver sour diesel haze, a good headband, Afgui train wreck. I have, we'll grow small amounts of it for personal use and for folks that really love it, but not so much on the market just yet. Definitely the OGs though.
Yeah,
We're gonna
well,
be
Anna, I'm older than you, and I remember brickweed, from Guatemala, from
yeah,
Mexico.
ice stick for sure.
Yeah, and I actually kind of a couple of years ago, there's a brand out here in Cali called Chemistry. I don't know if they're around anymore, but they were doing some true OG 70s, 80s strains, Acapulco Gold, some
Yeah, yeah.
what was the other ones? Some Panama Red. It was
Red.
really cool to see, and they did it really well. I have no idea where they got those strains, whether they were genetic old seeds that they had in their bank, but it was really cool, and I really like that. Have you ever thought about doing like old Malawi and different strains that are really going back?
I I the idea, like I love it. I just have so many mouths to feed that we're kind of cautious on
Sure.
putting that stuff out. But what we do is we'll grow some things and we'll have a bunch of bud tenders and literally like folks that are going to be helping sell the product, obviously our internal staff, sales, and the cultivation guys, and we will try it and we'll have kind of tasting parties, and we'll get feedback from everybody. And I think that those, even though you can't, it's not an exact science, and I've been from being from software, you've done tons of focus groups and user center design and those types of activities, but um it can't be from like what the grower thinks is best or what the owner
Right.
thinks is. I think that if we just continue from the cultivar perspective, also the indica and the sativa and the hybrid stuff, I will say that it's your body chemistry. Everybody reacts differently to different cannabinoids, and I'm a strong believer in, if you really love a terpene or a limonene, or and then someone else is kind of repulsed by it, that means your body's saying like that's not for you,
Right. Right.
um
That leads me into another question. I don't want to cut you off, but it's
no,
really about the whole argument and drive right now within the industry to go to higher and higher potency rather than focusing more on entourage and the whole effect. And it's really, to me, I talk about it a lot on the show because it bugs me, this whole thing about, oh, got to have something at 38, or it's just
it, it's
preposterous to me.
and it's also been one of the ways that we've been able to kind of crack open to the market. I came onto the scene with a bunch of stuff that was at 18 and 23%, and the product would get old and it would be heartbreaking because it was some of the best product and some of
Yeah.
the strains that we had. Now, do I still have those strains? Absolutely, because as we go multi-state, what I can tell you is that some of this testing type activities, like it's not quite there. Also, the purple, it's got to be purple, right? Which you
Hmm.
make anything purple by pulling out the humidity and pulling out the nitrogen at the end. So just a FYI to the
Right.
to the
Not the strain specific. It's the secret sauce on the grower side.
It is exactly. And also when you do some manipulation to that, you can also affect the way that it tastes and things like that. So you pull one lever and you're going to have a lot of levers in cultivation, that it's literally what you want your final outcome to be. But getting back to your question of, or the topic of THC, is that we're just missing out on so many amazing strains and so many amazing cannabis experiences because of this THC nightmare. So yeah, we have a lot of things that test really high, but this year specifically, I feel that our brand is strong enough where I'm just gonna try some stuff that's 25%,
Good
and
for you.
and
Good for you.
and
I
and
like
really
that.
we're strong enough, and I think that if I can pepper one or two in that don't, we have a La Paletta that's like a jealousy cross that no matter how well you grow it, won't go above 26,
Mhm.
and people have been asking for it for a year. So and I had pulled it because of the low THC. I told myself, like, well, we spent a year and a half trying to grow what I thought, what my company and my employees thought were amazing strains, and they just didn't hit in the market. I still am going into shops and folks are, what's the strongest thing you got? What's the highest? Like, let me look at the they're still there. Uh, so two things: it's podcasts like these and us talking about it that helps, right?
Right.
And then the other part is going to be that just at the point of sale where the bud tender is going to be like, hey, by the way, here it is. Here's what you're asking for. But I just want to let you know, like, THC is not the end all be all. And boy, have I smoked a lot of things that are 43% and it either tastes terrible or the high is pretty flat. Does that make sense? Like
It
it's
makes
not
a lot. It makes a lot of sense because even in a vape pen, when it's very high percentage, it's like there's nothing really there, and you're just like, what's this all about?
it's literally the best way I can describe is like who drinks moonshine? No one.
Ah,
No
that's what I
one.
say all the time. You don't go to a liquor store and say, "Give me Everclear."
Hey, give me the thing that's gonna knock me out. You drag me out. I just want to take a swig like right here, and then just you can just pull me out of here by my hair. Nobody wants that. That's a horrible experience.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
uh,
You go to you go to the bar. You're not asking for Everclear. You're not asking for
never.
151 all night. That's crazy.
Oh, never. And also it's the experience and the taste and um how I think that's why tequila is kind of like an upper and people love to have that feeling when they're drinking tequila. So um but we'll get there. We'll get there with the THC stuff and I will say I'm surprised of the popularity of kind of like of this sector of a little bit of manipulated cannabis, right? Whether it's added on terps or sprayed packs or however they're calling it, or like the THC covered in THCA. I'm not here to judge, but it's interesting for me. I'm just kind of old school where I'm like, oh, we're never going to do that, but
Yeah.
I'm here to
Back at
learn.
back in the day, it was just moon rocks. That was the best you could get in terms of
Well,
like
I
something
did
was adulterated.
a horrible product that couldn't sell regularly, or caviar. You remember this, and then you
Yes.
inject it and roll it and keep it and hash it and then roll it again. And I was like, oh, okay, well, this is just some swag.
They swept it off the floor.
It's literally floor buds
Yeah.
and and it's kind of like when I've trimmed a lot, like resin off your glove, right? No, it's not a fun
Yes.
experience to smoke.
No.
Yuck.
Anna, let me ask you another question. And this might be kind of controversial, but you might like it. Is the age of the Chad over in cannabis, or or are we still dealing with this
No,
showiness? You
no,
know?
I think it's in full effect. I think that as that's why I'm here to like support anyone that's feeling like this is too much or it's too hard and you're a smaller brand and you're just kind of making ends meet. I can't stress enough how important it is to keep going, because that's where uh that's where you're going to get some of the really the best product. Because I'm telling you right now, out of 2000 in a 2000 light facility, um the quality is so hard. It's going to take us another year to really get it to where we need to get it to. It takes a very long time, and you can do, and that's kind of like, I think the problem with the world of the Chads is that there's no one in their group that understands cannabis or cannabis culture. So they're like, oh, hey, we used to do car washes, so now we're doing this, right? Or we used
Right.
to do
Right.
we're doing real estate and we can apply it. Or we do and there are a lot of things you can apply from business to business to business, but I feel that the heart and the culture of cannabis is there with when it wasn't what it is today. Let's put
Right.
it that way. And so if there aren't folks from that era and that time and they don't pass on those stories and the storytelling, that stuff's all going to not be available for the next generation. Not to sound like an
No.
old fart, but
No. Well,
yeah.
well said though. Well said. And as a corollary to that question, I want to just say that we've had a lot of really great women on this show. A lot of women who are motivators and movers in the space. And what's a shout out to other women getting in or in the business right now in terms of encouragement?
Well, what I can say is that the beauty of great women leaders and women managers, I think, is that we bring a sense of empathy to the job and to the any job, right? And that the other part, if you have a chance to lead a team or have folks with you, uh, take in that idea of you work uh, with me, but and not for me. So I think that in this day and age, people are the 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 younger generation, they'll do like 7 or 8 different things. So they're not beholden to one job or one company. So you need to convince and win people over to really be passionate about your company. And I think that women do a great job of that. That we're really a force that brings people together. So
Yeah.
at least that for me, that's really important that there's a sense of community and helping, which I will say, cannabis for forever, as far as I has always been like, let's work together, right? You got a group of guys. Like I know when I was growing in homes, if you didn't go over and help somebody trim, they weren't going to come and help you trim, and you would, and that idea of like sharing strains, and now it's changing a little bit. Everybody's kind of, a little cutthroaty, but I will tell you, I work with some great breeders, and I keep things for people and keep them alive for if they get in trouble or any of that type of stuff. And then when they come back out and they want to, restart, I'm there to help people too. So
Yeah. Without cooperation and without that cooperative effort, especially back in the traditional days, you weren't going to go very far. You were just going to
yeah,
end.
there's some amazing women out there right now, like Kendra, I think she's at Natura, and Luna Stower at Eyes. But I mean, there's some amazing women out there.
Love Luna. We love
Love
Luna.
love her. So I can't. I'm surrounded by, I know people say it's like a male dominant, and I love my guys too, but my experience with men and cannabis and in this space has only been really positive. And I'm sure there's some folks that haven't had that experience, and I'm not trying to change that. But what I will tell you is that I have some amazing men mentors and folks that have taught me how to grow and continue to teach me how to grow. And I have a lot of folks that I work with on, men, women, the whole gamut that I feel that I'm learning from every day.
Yeah, that's a great answer because you kind of choose your tribe, right?
Yeah,
Within the cannabis space,
you
right?
have, yeah, and then you make it what it is, right? So if you want to focus on all the negative stuff that's going on, and I think that's why we've been kind of able to we've been really, really careful the last couple years on, I think a CEO's job is to identify things that might become problems so they don't become emergencies.
Right.
And I think that we've been very cautious on our growth and our scalability and still being able to hold on to quality. And then not have growth at all costs, right? Not doing the white labeling, not doing, where you're not really sure if the product's good or bad, and just kind of packaging it because you think it might move. I think that a lot of folks have gotten into trouble that way.
So, right now, as we get toward the end of the show, what's your current strains you got out there right before Christmas 2023?
All right. So we've got Bubba's Girl, we've got Dosey Kush, we've got Cam's Permanent Marker, we have La Paleta coming out. We've got quite a few strains from Belief, which is some of this maybe amazing, beautiful, completely different terpenes that I've ever seen. Just some of the most triked out product I've ever seen, but maybe not the highest testing. So we're gonna try some of those and see if the market takes it. Nine Lions and then all of our what I call house favorites. So
Cool.
that's what we're going to be doing next year.
So, final question here. Tell our audience a Stony story.
All
Everybody's
right.
got one. Everybody can share one because they're always funny to the audience, and it's just fun for me to hear too.
Um, let's see. I'll pick out like an old school one. So we're me and my girlfriend were driving from New York to California, and we just took a road trip, and we were gonna stop at a bunch of places and do some rock climbing and some hiking, and we uh we rolled up all these joints. Okay, we rolled up, she used to smoke blunts, I smoked joints, and we had all these for our entire road trip, and we were so excited. And we put them just in the front compartment of the ashtray. And so we're driving along, and I don't know, we're like rocking out, and she just picks it up and she just dumps out the ashtray
Oh
with
no.
yeah,
Oh
with everything.
no. Oh no.
All the everything. So I go like literally, we stop for gas, and I'm like, "Where's our weed? It's supposed to be our stony thing," and we had dumped the whole entire ashtray outside. So I thought
Oh,
that was a pretty
that
good move. I was like, "Maria, did you just dump out all of our, like, literally for our trip?" She's like, "Yeah, I did."
yeah.
So
Stony story. Bad Stony story. Sorry. It was a very sober trip after that, I'm sure.
yeah, sober trip after that.
Yeah. Well, Anna, it's so nice to have you here, and it's great to hear about your success. And you're moving, or you've moved back to Colorado, but you still have your operation here, correct?
Oh no, I'm here. I'm in Sacramento every day.
Oh, right on. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we did like a licensing agreement for 12 states, but I wake up every single day and I'm at either this 500 light facility that I'm in right now, or in the 2000 light facility, which is 15 minutes away from here.
Right
And
on.
once a week I go down to Long Beach. We have a distro and a 700 light facility, so I'm definitely every day in my business.
You are busy. Well, we'll see you in the air probably on Southwest Airlines sometime. Anyway, Anna
Thank you so
Wiley.
much. Thank you.
Anna Wiley, thanks for being here. And this show has always been brought to you by Perfect Union. And Anna Wiley has been supplier with Cam to Perfect Union, and they carry her strains in the stores every day of the week. Have a great Christmas season, holiday season, Anna, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.